When I was reading it, I was like, oh, that sounds so familiar. Ooh, this is a little creepy. And then I read Careless People and I was like, oh, there it is. Welcome back to another video. If you are new, I am Stefanie and I like to make videos reflecting on media, culture, and everyday life. And this video is going to combine a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about books, we're going to talk about tech, we're going to talk about media, we're going to talk about politics, we're going to talk about all of it. So in this video, I want to talk about two books. And usually when we talk about a double feature, we're talking about a movie, but I really think that these two books would make a great double feature read. So the two books I'm talking about right now are The Circle and Careless People by Sarah Wynn Williams. I didn't go into reading these books together, but it kind of just happened that way. I read The Circle because it's referenced a lot in some of the articles that I've read, and I wanted to assign it to one of my individual study students, and I thought I should read it before I assigned it. And then at the same time, while I was reading this, my friend and I, we went to Barnes & Noble, and it was like the day after that Careless People had come out, and he was telling me all about it, and I was like, okay, I definitely have to read this book. I wanted to bring these two books together because I can't imagine reading them any other way. And of course you can read these however you want, but I think to really see the parallels of a media technology and how it influences politics and cultures and like vice versa, so how politics and culture influences media technology, this is the most impactful way to read these two books. So for context, here is what the two books are about, and if you have watched my other videos, you might get sick of hearing about The Circle, but I do think there is value in talking about a text over and over again and not letting it kind of get lost in everything. So The Circle is about a character named May Holland who started working for this tech company called The Circle. And The Circle is an internet company that's kind of like Facebook, Google, and Apple combined. And the first idea that started the company was this idea of the unified operating system that combined everything that was like sloppy and messy and like disjointed before. So your email accounts, your passwords, your social media accounts, all of that, and kind of brought it into one. And that kind of turned into this tech giant that uses technology to solve social issues. Does that sound familiar at all? Careless People, A Cautionary Tale of Power, Greed, and Lost Idealism is a memoir written by Sarah Wynn Williams, and Sarah Wynn Williams pitched herself to Facebook a few times before she was actually hired in the early 2010s. And when she was hired in 2011, she started working for their global policy team, and she really saw Facebook as this force that would change the world and lead in global politics. And throughout her career there, she was getting Mark Zuckerberg and other Facebook leaders into global conferences, dinners with heads of state, and getting Facebook and other features of Facebook into countries where it wasn't before. During her time there as well, she experienced sexual harassment from Sheryl Sandberg and Joel Kaplan, and this book really goes into both of those experiences. She's dropping first and last names, she's dropping titles of documents, and with Careless People, we're really getting to see like Mark Zuckerberg, Sheryl Sandberg, and Joel Kaplan, and just the figures behind this tech giant as people, as really, really flawed, horrible people. And if there's any mysticism left for tech and like tech leaders, this book really demystifies them. So the themes that really tie these two books together are utopian narratives about tech and data colonialism. So let's start off with utopian narratives about tech. Sarah Wynn Williams writes about her early days at Facebook as changing the world. So she's not just working a corporate job, she's changing the world. It's not just capitalism, it's social justice, it's social change, it's humanitarian change. So then throughout The Circle, the book, the dialogue and the initiatives that circlers pursue really captures that techno-solutionistic energy that tech can really solve all social issues. The book also goes more deeply into these social initiatives than the movie does, so I really recommend reading the book and then watching the movie if you decide to watch the movie. But yeah, that was just my plug for reading the book. And now switching over to data colonialism. We have talked about data colonialism a few times on this channel, but I'm including this as a refresher, or if this is the first video of mine that you've ever clicked, I think it's helpful context. So this idea of data colonialism is from the book Cost of Connection, how data is colonizing human life and appropriating it for capitalism. So to define data colonialism is the extension of a global process of extraction that started under colonialism and continued through industrial capitalism, culminating in today's new form. Instead of natural resources and labor, what is now being appropriated is human life through its conversion into data. And so data relations are the parts that ensure that informational resources, data for capitalism in areas of human life that previously were not considered direct input for production, are now direct inputs for production. And those data relations gives corporations a privileged window into the world of social relations and a privileged handle on the levers of social differentiation. States have become increasingly dependent on access to what the corporate sector knows about the lives of those state citizens, reversing the long direction of knowledge transfer from states to corporations. So what is the impact of that? The goal of continuous data appropriation intrudes on the space of the self and changes humanity's relations to external infrastructures, erasing potentially forever the boundary between the flow of human experience and the environment of economic power that surrounds it. This just means that the economy is now touching every single part of our lives. So bringing this back into context, Meta has appropriated our social relations, our communication, our participation in everyday life into data. And Sarah Wynn Williams, when talking about the early days of her Facebook journey, talks about how Meta has data on everything. Data that was previously private is no longer private, and she really talks about how information is power. And you kind of get that dialogue in The Circle as well, which is like so eerie and creepy. And yeah, she then also specifically mentions the word colonization, which really made my little analyzing things go up. But she said that Mark Zuckerberg was building and colonizing the next digital frontier with Meta's metaverse. And I was like, ooh, we're actually talking about colonialism in this book. There are so many other themes that are in both of these books that I didn't touch on, but these are the two that I wanted to focus on specifically for my research purposes, and I think why a lot of people watch these videos. And again, for the most impact, I think you should read The Circle first, because when I was reading it, I was like, oh, that sounds so familiar. Ooh, this is a little creepy. And then I read Careless People and I was like, oh, there it is. And I hate to end on a TikTok sound, but the next time somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes, they would. Go read these two books and then let me know what you think.